Hey! Is the noon train on time?
Supposed to be.
Feels like it's time.
Fair enough.
BBN Jackfruits. What's up, party people? How's everybody doing? I'm hoping everybody's having a beautiful day. We got some stuff to talk about. Just so we can be clear, as you've seen in the title, basically it said, do you believe that the operation that just happened in Iran, do you believe it was a good idea? And I want to discuss what led up to this and why this is something that had to happen. So before we get into any of that, I'm going to give you a tiny synopsis of what I'm going to be discussing. And basically, during the monologues and basically what that is we're going to be discussing why it happened. Also, while doing that, we're also going to be discussing the reason why some other things did not happen yet, while we've been waiting for these things to happen. And also, I guess I'll put you on to what Guantanamo Bay actually is, and because we're going to have to discuss that while we're discussing why this actually happened. So with that being said, let's get right into the discussion. So first thing I'm going to do is let's say, for the people that are Iranian and you guys are celebrating, I'm so happy for you. I haven't seen any I haven't seen any Iranians not celebrating and happy about this. So I'm going to need people to explain to me why this is bad before I speak about whether I'm anything more than happy for the people who are happy. You understand? Because you might be like, oh, the information I have in America leads me to believe that this was a good thing. But you see people celebrating, but then you see people not celebrating. You don't know what's going on. So I'm going to just say it like that. I don't want to offend anyone on this particular topic because I'm going to give you the information that I have. And then most of my information is political and historical. With that being said, please look up anything that you hear me talking about and you can go research it yourself. With that being said, remember when Obama was running and he was saying, running on the idea of we're going to close Guantanamo Bay. First of all, he can't do that. That's one. Two, remember when they were running? I'm going to explain why during this conversation. He was running on that premise. Remember that. Lock that in your head. Don't lose that. That's very, very important through the entire duration of this conversation, that you keep in your mind that Obama ran on the idea that he was closing Guantanamo Bay. It never got closed because he can't do that. I'm going to explain why during this conversation. With that being said, Obama now is leaving office. He ran his 2 terms. Why did he give all of that money to Iran? He gave them pallets of cash, not wire transfers, cash, untraceable. Why did he give them pallets of cash on his way out the door? Iran has historically been known as a terrorist state. I'm not saying that it is, but as far as what the people who are celebrating is currently saying, they're agreeing with the premise that this regime that was in place were not very good guys. And also, remember, every time we hear about some type of attack done by people that want to encourage terror in people. I don't know if I say that word, I'm having a problem with YouTube, the algorithm. So every time we hear about an attack from people that want to create terror in the world, generally speaking, why is it always coming back to us that Iran was funding them? Keep that in mind. So now Trump gets into office his first term. He does not have the ability to do everything that he's doing now. Guess why? COVID. We were in a lockdown. We had all of these other things going on. And on top of that, we had riots in the street. So Trump loses. He doesn't understand how they were able to win again, to take him out. He finds out it was allegedly some kind of voter fraud. So what's one of the main things that Trump is attacking right now? Voter fraud. How is he attacking voter fraud? A lot of different areas, but the main way that he's attacking voter fraud, other than trying to get the ballots, because remember, he said, yo, y'all got to empty your ballots. What happened? All of those governors said, we're not doing nothing. Tell me where the lie's at. ICE showed up in their town. Why? Because now we have to get rid of we have to clear your census. And the only way we could clear your census is by removing the people, because US won't take them off the census. Okay, so that's another conversation. We're getting to that. That's a whole nother conversation for another day. So why is Trump attacking Iran now? Because it's time to start arresting people. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think would have happened if they didn't deploy ICE into the streets and start snatching up all of these illegals? You know how many terrorists they snatched up that we don't even know about? But do you understand what kind of mass hysteria would be happening? Would be happening. Do you understand what kind of mass hysteria would happen if the government just straight up said, yo, look, we got terrorist cell in this area, and a terrorist cell in that area, and a terrorist cell in that area, and we have to come in and get them? Do you understand the kind of mass hysteria that would happen? Do you understand what the terrorist cell would do to survive? Remember before, when Trump was running in his first term, what did I say us black people need to do? Get out of the way. This is not our fight. What they're fighting about and what they're going on with don't have nothing to do with us. Get out the way. But what did so many black people decide to do? Pick sides. There's only two sides. God's side and the side that goes against them. There's no other sides. No other sides exist. When we understand that, then we pay attention to people's fruits. Not if they're developing what we think they should be developing, but what are they actually developing, if anything. So keep that in mind. Stop thinking. I'm not going to say that this isn't the left against the right, because it's really not the left against the right. It's really God's word against things that want to go against God's word. That's it. Think about everything that the far left stands for. Now go into the Bible and see what the Bible says about any of these things. You can pick any one. It doesn't matter. Whatever it is they're talking about. Oh, people. Whatever it is that they're talking about. So why did he attack Iran now? It's time to start grabbing people up. Why is that? Do you know what Guantanamo Bay actually is? See, you don't know what Guantanamo Bay actually is. Y'all thought y'all thought Obama had the power to close it down when he was preaching all that crap. When in reality, he wasn't talking to the voters. He was talking to the people that finance his elections. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? He was talking to those people. He wasn't talking to the voters. They're already going to rig the election. They just got to make it look like he can win. I don't think y'all hear me. So why do they attack Venezuela? Venezuela was the home of where they was creating the Dominion machines. What are the Dominion machines? The Dominion machines are the machines that they use in the voting. So what had happened was in Georgia, Fulton County, I believe specifically, they were losing. It was some county in Georgia. They were losing Biden. So the Dominion machines talked to each other from areas where Biden was having big leads and took those votes and moved those votes over to where Georgia, where he was losing. Now he wins. And besides those votes, there's another 300,000 votes. So these guys, they said, look, we're going to make it look like there was no question. And when in reality, there wasn't just a little bit of question, it was a big question. So that's why he had to go after Venezuela. So now we're securing our elections. That's why I listen to people. And I say, they say, he's doing stuff that's not for the American people. No. He's doing stuff that you don't understand how it works in the favor of the American people. Every single thing that the president does in pursuit of his powers or his authority, or with his powers or his authorities, it's going to affect us in one way or the other. So there is no way that any president does anything that it just does not affect you, just because of trickle-down effect. So why Iran now? I have two theories on this. This is theory. First theory is this. First theory is so much simpler. Remember when he went and did the Venezuela? I don't think the outpour was enough. I don't think the outpour was enough. I don't think the Venezuelan people that live in America flooded the streets enough for him to stay in that region. I'm going to say that again because I don't think people understand what I'm trying to impress. This isn't just about, he's going to pull up on all of these places. Everybody's getting pulled up on. It's just in which order he's deciding to do it. That's it. Everybody is getting pulled up on. So when we're in these negotiations and they're talking and Cuba is sounding more like they're broken. Because remember, I keep hearing people in Americans saying, oh, he's stealing oil tankers. No, he's not. Those places aren't supposed to be getting that oil in the first place. They have sanctions. He's not stealing it. In reality, what he's doing is he's enforcing something that's already in place. He's preventing these places from being able to get this oil that they've been getting, even though there's been sanctions on them. Why would you want to do that? The number one reason is if you're going to go to war with somebody, you don't want them to have energy. And that's all basically the oil is energy. So the less energy somebody has, think about a health ball, the less energy somebody has, what do you think is going to happen? This guy's energy is like this far. This other guy's energy is this much. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to win? And this guy has a better kit. He has better weapons and better moves. Trump told Iran, hold on. Trump told Iran, yo, if y'all try to retaliate, we're about to use something that ain't never been used before. Damn. D Game says Cuba next. That's 90 minutes from Florida. Once again, I don't think the outpour in the streets of America was big enough from the Venezuelan people for him to prioritize that region. You understand? Because what was they talking about previously? Cuba and Colombia, was they not? Iran was being spoken, but not really. Now look what happened. they pull up on Iran. The people in Iran celebrating, just like the people in Venezuela was celebrating. The people in the state of Venezuela, they was, oh wow, they was that. I felt so good for them. That made me feel so good, you know, like personally, like it was a win for me. The people in Iran is going off the same way. But do you see how many people, there was some Venezuelans in the streets in America, but do you see how many Iranians is out there right now? Now, add that to there was already breakdown in communication. Because Trump was telling them what we gonna accept and what we not gonna accept. And they was still on the same BS that they been on. I'm going to explain two things to y'all right now. Get this clear through y'all heads. Trump doesn't want to capture any of these guys, really, unless they need their information from them. If they don't need information from them, Trump isn't interested in capturing any of these guys. It was important to capture Maduro. Why? Because he had communications directly with government officials in America that we need to talk about this. These other dudes, we know what's going on with them, and those guys, they're probably never going to talk anyway. And on top of that, they've done so much collectively as whatever, and the way probably the way that the communications broke down, they was just like, all right, Trump was just like, we got to show people right now. Just, they forgot that Maduro thing was a whole month ago or something like that. They forgot. That's why he's pulling up on Iran. And once again, one of the reasons, once again, I'm at a loss to understand how we have Americans rooting for dictators of other countries because they hate our own president. This is insanity. That's why I said black people stay out of this. You see, because remember those terror cells that I was telling y'all about a little bit earlier in the video? What you think was going to happen as soon as they start arresting these politicians, or the right politicians? What do you think was going to happen? You don't think there would have been some kind of catastrophe somewhere? A building? A bus? You don't think they would have turned our streets into what Gaza looks like? You don't think that would have happened? All they got to do is go to any which one of these protests and just be strapped. It don't matter what side the protesters. If they go and do that to the liberals will probably be on their side even more. At least that's my belief. Because nothing they do make any sense, with all due respect. I don't understand it. So I just assume they're going to do the next thing that I don't understand. And I don't think make any sense. Because they've so consistently done that. You have the Epstein files get released. I'm going to tell you the latest wacky crap I heard real quick, then we're going to get right back. You have the Epstein files get released. Not just did the Epstein files get released, and it 100% exonerates Trump. Like 100%. Like his name is literally in it, mostly. And when I say mostly, I mean mostly. Even with the fabrications, it's mostly in there because he was working with the cops. And then the other times it's in there, every time they go try to investigate whatever the claim is, they can't find nothing. And I'm always suspicious of people who use that as some kind of proof, because that's how you destroy good people. Now you destroy a good man, You just make up lie after 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 lie. There's so many lies out there that now this man is just, there's nothing that he could ever do in the world. And that's why it's not that I side with Trump, but that happened to me. So that's why I can't be tricked by it. You know, sometimes the Lord makes something terrible happen to you so you don't become an accuser. You get it? He says, I love you so much that I don't want you to become an accuser. So I'm going to have to allow for these terrible things to happen to you. So when other people try to convince you to be on board with you doing it to somebody else, your character show. Because that's all God is ever doing, is putting us into positions to allow for our character to show. So if I hear a person say, free Iran, and then you're like, yeah, free Iran. And you're like, yeah, but what are we freeing Iran from? And they're like, imperialism. And they're like, wait, hold on, you gotta be a little bit more specific. And then they're like, Trump and the U.S. going in there. And you're like, wait, hold on. And you try to explain to them that the Iranian people were happy with what happened. And they're gonna say, yeah, but not Trump. Who are they to dictate how God makes the world work? You got to understand what the real issue is. Okay, so once again, we spoke about this previously. In like 1916, that was the end of the women's suffrage movement. In 1920 is when that whole Planned Parenthood started. You understand? It's the same exact movement. They had to rename it because it was so damaging. It did so much harm. They had to rename it. They had to rebrand it. This is the part that I don't get. When you're trying to explain to people you're fighting for something that, one, isn't your problem, and two, isn't an actual problem. So you're fighting because you think anything that Trump does is bad. But that's not how God works. God sometimes takes the most dishonorable person and then puts them in a position and they do the most honorable thing. So that's not how God works. The women's suffrage movement was just attacking male masculinity. That's all it was about. White women had different issues in their homes than black women had. I'm not saying that our homes were great, because that would, what are you talking about? That's not even a possibility that everybody had a great home in any community. What are you talking about over here? But what I'm saying is we had different problems. Two issues was occurring during the 60s and the 70s. And the biggest issue, not against us, but actually for us and our benefit, was our population was growing exponentially. We came from households that had 10, 11 kids. And then those kids moved abroad, and now all of those kids is having, at the minimum, 5, 6, 7 kids. Our population was growing exponentially. The first way that Planned Parenthood attacked that was by when the men was at work and doing whatever they was doing, pulling up to the homes. Called it maybe giving counsel. But in reality, what they was doing was creating a wedge. I'm going to say something that's going to be super unpopular, and I'm sorry about this if I upset you. But one of the main things that we should be teaching our daughters And don't say, what should we be teaching our sons? We're not talking about that. One of the main things that we should be teaching our daughters is how important it is to have as few partners as possible. Things happen. I get it. But when we think about having fewer partners, we're more particular about the partner we pick. I'm going to say that again. When we think about having fewer partners, we're more particular with the partner that we pick. People used to need to use better discernment. It's neither here nor there, but we're busy speaking about the women's suffrage movement and how it came and attacked our homes. So hold on, we still getting to Iran, which is ironic to me, because for Iran being a country that has Sharia law, for Gaza being an area that has Sharia law, for all of these places having laws in place that go completely contradictory to the LGBTQ movement and everything that these lefts stand for them to be so adamantly on these individual sides. I'm not saying that some of them can't be. I'm not saying that all of them can't be, with the ferocity that they have. I can't even, 95% of them wouldn't make it out of the airport if they flew over there. What? This is obviously before Trump did what he did. I wonder if Iran is going to go back to calling themselves Persia. I'm curious about that. I want to know if Iran is going to go back to calling themselves Persia. I was listening to an Iranian on Instagram speaking, and a couple of them, and they spoke in the context of Persia more than they spoke of the context of Iran. So I'm curious. Are they going to be like, yo, look, we just going to, that whole period of time where the Ayatollah was in charge, we don't even want to acknowledge that thing was a part of what we have going forward. It happened. We know it. It happened. We have to make sure that we are in agreement that it is something that can't happen again. And because of that, we have to make sure that we be vigilant to remember history. Not what we doing over here with slavery, because that's just bananas. I don't want no more slavery movies. I need people to stop making slavery movies. We have enough. There was so many heroes during that period of time, right? Why can't we make the movies heroic instead of making it where we have to spend so much time paying attention to the horrors, because it's not meant to enlighten? But that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. Obviously, I'm getting a little sidetracked. We don't do this much anymore. So just so we could get a real quick update, because I've been all over the place. The reason why it's happening right now is because they are probably most likely about to start arresting people and publicly doing so. And just so we can be clear, why am I saying that they had to attack Iran right now if they want to start publicly arresting people? Easy, because Iran is the hub of the terrorist networks in the world. They're the hub, allegedly. So you go and you got to shut down Iran. Now, another thing that does is China is dependent on Iran for different resources. So now that also hurts China, because remember, all of this is a big war with China. We went into Venezuela. We stopped the oil. Now, Russia isn't getting oil that they're not supposed to be getting because of sanctions. China isn't getting oil that they're not supposed to be getting because of sanctions. And remember this. This is why I say you can't forget that these things is happening. So because all of that is going on, now when we go into Iran, we cutting off more of things that China isn't supposed to have in the first place. So we're literally making it so it's in their best interest to make sure that they don't go to war with us, independent of whatever resources they might have that can attack and defend and destroy or blow something up. Independent of that, now we just have such an energy advantage. Also, we have like 2 of the 3 biggest navies on the planet, so that wouldn't make sense. Just for everybody that don't know, we have 2, not navies, we have 2 of the biggest, navies on the planet. The actual Navy and the Marines. One of them is number 1, the Navy, and I think the Marines is like number 3 or something like that. And then there's like the Air Force, and I think they're like number 5. You understand what I'm saying? And I think Space Force is like number 5. Like, it's crazy, fam. The level that our military is at in comparison with other people's militaries on the planet. Liberals are insane when they say, well, we attack those people, we gonna have problems. No, we're not. We can have 0 problems. The biggest problem is gonna be not killing civilians. I promise you. It's gonna be the biggest problem. How are we gonna kill those guys without also killing the civilians? That's gonna be the biggest issue. I promise you, that's the biggest talk in their conversations. I promise you. How can we do this with as few? We want minimal civilian casualties. And if you pay attention to how these operations are being played out, you don't hear about civilians being in the way. All you hear about is the people that the American forces is going to get. Those guys is doing stuff and people getting hurt for the most part. They're attacking military facilities, installations. Now, as far as with that hospital or that school, getting a rocket or something like that in Iran, allegedly, I can't say that this happened absolutely, but allegedly, I don't know if this really happened. It was a video, but I couldn't really see it that well. I'm laughing because this is what they said happened previously, so that's why I don't know if I should believe it or not, but this is what they said happened. I'm laughing because it's just like some Bugs Bunny shit, man. Like something that just like Wile E. Coyote would do. So allegedly, and it's sad, I'm sorry because people got hurt, but it's like, what in the hell, fam? So they built one of their I guess military installations, or like I don't know, flop house or something, I don't know what the hell, but where they keep their armory at, right next to a school. Allegedly, one of the dudes was trying to shoot like a rocket or something, and it malfunctioned and it went up and it came back and hit the building next to him. That's terrible. But like I said, Wile E. Coyote stuff. Allegedly, that's what happened, and allegedly there's film of it. And the only reason why I do believe that if this did happen, there is film, is because these guys is always filming themselves shooting rockets. That's like their big thing. You know, I got a whole rocket over here. How much film you got, buddy? Like, that's really their big thing. So I'm gonna be clear about something. People are like, yo, I know I'm all over the place. People are like, yo, Trump isn't doing anything for the American people. And then I'm like, you see, I live in a different America than you. And it's not because physically we're in places that are obscure or that are varied from one another. It's because I'm looking at things that are actually happening and determining that's the America I live in. While some people, they look at not just what could happen, but the most negative aspect of what could happen. Trump's in office. He's gonna put, I think, LGBTQ people in concentration camps. I think a lot of people got scared they was gonna go to mental hospitals. And I'm just being honest with you. We might need them. in any regard. So while many of us is looking at what's actually happening and determining that's how we feel about what's going on. That's why when you speak to a lot of individuals, and we love a lot of them, so I'm not trying to talk down or insult anybody, and I apologize beforehand if anybody feels insulted by anything that I'm saying. God says use kind words in the beginning. He doesn't say that in the beginning of the part. He just says, I suffer that you speak kindly to one another. In any regard. The left, for whatever the reason is, they are obsessed with everything going wrong. So much so that when something goes right, they can then only obsess over the negative aspect, like the negative part of it. Like they can't, like, and that's not good. And it's not two birds of the same feather. Pardon me, two birds of the same wing. You want to know why? I'm going to explain. One reason why Trump is not part of the political world. He wasn't a politician for the last 20 years, 30, 40 years. He's always been a businessman. And that's why he's taking the steps that he's taking in the manner that he's taking them in his second term. He's always been a businessman. He's never been a part of whatever the hell was going on in D.C. He's never been a part of that. So even if you're saying bird, two wings of the same bird, even if you're saying that, it still doesn't apply to Trump because he's not a part of the bird. So that's where people get lost at, in my opinion. Because remember when the Republicans were mad at Trump because Trump was doing a lot of things that it goes against what their party historically was involved in. People forget about this. He cleaned his own party out first. People forget about this. He set everybody in line first, boom, and then went about his business. God says, take this, the Bible says, take the splendor out of your eye before you try to remove your brother's. Trump took care of the Republican Party before he took care of his own party, proving that he's not of the same bird that everybody else is. So now it's time to start arresting people. So some quick theories. It's going to be based kind of in conspiracy area. So take it with a grain of salt. But allegedly, the Epstein files said that President Clinton, along with a ton of other people, got unalived in Guantanamo Bay for different reasons, including treason. And basically, these individuals that you see walking around is just in their place because that's the only way that you can keep the illusion going. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm just telling you what it is. Add a little bit more to the conspiracy. Did you hear about the whole Jim Carrey thing going on now? People are like, yo, that's not Jim's. It's not Jim Carrey. Now, I'm starting to feel different about every time I see a celebrity get, like, extreme plastic surgery. Like, did they just give somebody else plastic surgery to try to get them to look like the person, and then now that's what they look like, but it's enough like the person that we could say that the person went and got plastic surgery, and that's them? Is that what's happening? I mean, I'm not saying that that's what's happening. This is conspiracy theory stuff. And why am I saying this now? Once again, Guantanamo Bay is an international court. It's not an American institution. It's an international institution. That's where they hold not global trials, because we don't see none of these things, but that's where they hold trials for people who ain't for the, you know, this week they said that they arrested the prince, but have we seen him? Is he out on bail? I don't know. Is he? So they didn't give him a double? So he had to find out he got arrested? So things are changing. In any regard, that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. I was going to get sidetracked. So just so we could be clear. So what they might be doing is, because remember, when Clinton, allegedly, Hillary isn't here no more. Allegedly, Clinton isn't here no more. Allegedly, Jay-Z isn't here no more. Allegedly, Beyonce isn't here no more. Like, allegedly, a lot of people ain't here no more. Allegedly. All having to do with things that are connected with activities that they did at Epstein Island. Just so we could be clear. This is bigger than y'all think. That's why I said, black people, get out the way. They got y'all over here thinking this is about Trump. That Trump is terrible. Tell me one thing Trump's been wrong about. If you ask a liberal, tell me something Trump's been wrong about, they're going to tell you something that Trump's been right about, that the Democrats fought them on and effed up. That's what they're going to tell you about. Well, that didn't work. No, it was going to work. The Democrats got in the way. Yeah, but it didn't work. That's not how you proven he's not trying to do works. You can't say that I tried to fix the, pardon me. You can't say that I didn't fix the car and laugh at me. If while I'm trying to fix the car, you are trying to also break the car in the process. You can't now then blame or fault me because the car didn't get fixed. What was y'all doing? It was your whole design. I'm going to say something real quick. I want to branch off and talk about Mandani for about 5 or 6 minutes. I want to say something. What did I tell y'all was going to happen? And I promise you, come the next election, black people are going to be out there in hordes, even voting for the Democrats even more. You want to know why? Because Mandani is about to make it so hard on New Yorkers. It's going to be so terrible. And the worse they get, the more black people are going to blame Republicans. They don't care that Republicans don't got nothing to do with it. They don't care. I'm black. I'm telling you they don't care. Because all of the problems that we have in our neighborhoods come directly from liberal freaking agendas. Directly. Their whole thing about making sure that criminals don't go to jail. So where they gonna live? In your community. They don't want criminals in jail. They don't want people that unalive people in jail. Only when they in their community. You let somebody go to one of their communities and unalive somebody. Ain't no bond. They in our community and they unalive somebody, poor baby. The system did them wrong. Whole entire time he on demon time and he trying to figure out there's 3 more bodies you don't know about. They killing all the good kids. All the scholars. So Trump is making sure that he's removing one of the avenues that they use to inflict terror among the world. He's removing it. Iran, not Iran specifically, but that regime. They funded everybody. We've been talking about how the Iranian regime have been funding terrorism for how many years now? Like, everybody knows it's them. That's why when I'm telling you, Obama gave them pallets full of cash. Are you getting it? Right when he was leaving office. Who came into office after Obama? See, this is what I mean by I don't understand how some people are so easily, like, even if you believe opposite than what I believe, right? When I'm having, or if I have a discussion with somebody, and even if I believe what I believe, and I don't believe what they believe, and I believe that they're wrong, but they're giving me good reasons for why they believe what they believe, I have to respect that, just as a person. Like, you know what? That makes, I don't agree with you. I think you're wrong. But I absolutely can see how you came to that conclusion. Absolutely 100%. I get it. I don't agree with you, though. And I think you're wrong. But with the information that you're trying to tell me, you know, if what you are saying is correct, you know, I might be wrong. You might be right. But if I believe I'm right and I believe you're wrong, you understand? So because I might change my mind. I have a brother. I'm going to say his name. And having conversations with him were just incredible. And the reason is because every time he was probably trying to give me guidance with something, right? Because that's what we're going to call it. He would never help with the thing that he was trying to help me with, but he would always help me with something else. Like, the thing he said gave usually no relevance to whatever the issue was that was going on, to be honest with you. But what he said would be so poignant that it would help in other ways, in other avenues. My brother Jeff, Rashid. It would just help in other ways. It would help in other avenues. But it would, for the thing we're discussing, it would be of no. And the whole time I'd be trying to explain to him, like, this is not gonna help me. And then, but what he'd be saying, like, it'll help with some other stuff. Sometimes things he know nothing about. You gotta know when God is talking to you. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we have to be vigilant, but less defensive. But vigilant, but less defensive. Because one of the problems I think we have in our community, and I'll say I've had it at times myself, is that because of where information might be coming from, and this is why it's important that we don't just dislike people without good reason. But because of where information might be coming from, the way that I feel about the information, it might not be received. But it might be information that might be beneficial to me. And I know I've done that previously. And I know I've spoken with people at times and I've given them information that I know would be of a benefit to them. And then they go on, don't use the information. And then something bad happens, and then the thing, or negative happens, or it doesn't turn out the way that they wanted to. Not necessarily bad, it just doesn't work out the way that they wanted to. And as it not work out the way that they wanted to, you know, it, but like, what happened? And then they be like, well, and I'm like, they be like, yeah, I shouldn't. But it's like that. I've done the same thing. It's just a human thing. I think sometimes we forget other people are also human. And we say, we make mistakes. And we only want to acknowledge that mistakes are made when we make mistakes, not acknowledge that mistakes are also made when other people make mistakes. That's why it's important to know a person's heart. You only can tell a person's heart from their fruits. Imagine, I can't have the conversation, but my first love is the Lord. And if I was to be with somebody, I would need to know that that God will be in our relationship. That's just important to me. I don't even want to try if that's not a thing. I don't understand. Anyway. Just something to be mindful of. Anyway. Let's get back to this Iran thing. It's crazy. Liberals are crazy. Liberals are so pissed. They're like, yo, get out of Iran, US. You doing stuff. But the people that's in Iran is like, please keep helping. Am I wrong for saying that these people are evil? Am I wrong for saying this? Remember, the women's suffrage movement was just meant to go contrast to anything that men were doing. Women's suffrage movement was like from 1878 maybe a little longer than that. I'm thinking 58 or something, up until 1916. That's when it ended. 1916, the women's suffrage movement. And Planned Parenthood started in 1920. It's the same movement. All they did was rebrand. And in the 1970s, Planned Parenthood invaded the Democratic Party. So right now, those are the people who are actually the far left. The people who are, and their energies and spirits and everything align with that Planned Parenthood women's suffrage movement BS. That's why they're for all types of anything that's anti-masculinity, anything that's anti-men. Like, men shouldn't be for stuff that's anti-woman, and women shouldn't be stuff that's insane. Imagine deciding that you're just going to be the opposite of the other gender, or anti your own gender, because that's having men feminists is I don't even understand that. You a cannibal, fam. I'm just being honest. If you a feminist and you a man, you a cannibal. Same principle. So I don't think people understand exactly what they're fighting for. And sometimes when I'm having conversations, especially like if I'm talking to somebody like face to face and I care about them, if I don't care about them, I probably say very little anyway. I don't want to say anything because it's just going to be an argument. I don't really care about this. It's not that important to me. But especially like if I care about them and we having a conversation and I want good for them, and I know in order for me to have this conversation with you, I'm going to have to talk for like 3 hours. Nobody will want to hear that. The explanations are going to be so long. Like, nobody don't want to hear that. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you my friend. I care about you. I don't want to put you through that kind of bullshit. You understand what I'm saying? So, a lot of times I'll lead into something or have little small conversations here and there about things that I believe. And just like they do on their own, have small conversations with me about things that they believe. And that's what being a friend is. And having different perspectives. That's what being a friend is. It's not forcing nothing down your friend's throat. But you have the opportunity, and you believe you're opening somebody's eyes to something. You say something. But we're not going to talk about it for 3 hours. We're not going to do that. We're not going to be annoying. We're not going to ruin our time and day. We're not going to be doing that. Just imagine how many women, how many, not even women, but how many liberals have ruined their relationships and their marriages because they have obsessed over hating Trump so much that now they're just insufferable to be around, ruining their relationship with their children. I seen something the other day, some girl, she had like all the piercings in her face and everything with the pink hair, and she was yelling at her parents about how her parents could be pro-Trump, just yelling at them, talking crazy to them, just absolutely bananas crazy, like just like, what are you doing? So eventually they're like, look, we can't be going through this every day, you gotta go. So they kick her out. Then she does another video complaining that her parents kicked her out, like she don't understand why they did this. Like, what are you doing? You're sitting there you're trying to dox your parents so other people do bad things to them. That was your intent. It's not something that you was doing by accident. You didn't accidentally or say something, blurt something out, or, you know what I'm saying, no. You purposely said, I'm going to record my parents so people know how my parents look. So even if strangers see them, they could attack them. I'm going to put them on social media. And then I'm going to say that they're Trump supporters. So everybody that don't like Trump will attack my own parents. Think about that. So they kicked her out. She has no idea why. This is liberal logic. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. But they're going to explain it by saying, but they felt the way. We got to be mindful of not letting our heart lead us astray. I had a conversation with somebody a while back, and I was trying to explain to them something that was important. And I love the person. The person loved me. Great friend. And they were so fixed on what they want me to do and what they think is good for me that they didn't even hear me when I was telling them that God spoke to me and told me a thing. I love the person, but they actively are working or were working against something that God said to me. So we got to be mindful sometimes. Of where our intentions lie. When I was a kid, we're going to get back to Iran. I just want to say something, because I believe that there are a lot of people that's with the that's with the liberals that are not wackos. Y'all just believe that you're doing the right thing. You understand? The real reason why they unalived Charlie Kirk, the real reason is because he was convincing the college kids, and the college kids is how they overthrow the government. If you don't believe me, go learn about Mao, M-A-O. Go learn about Mao. All right. So what they do is they radicalize the colleges. Remember, college kids could vote. They radicalize the college kids. Now that's the new generation. And these are the college kids. They're going to be working at your local schools, your local hospitals. A lot of them are going to be the professionals of the world. That's why Charlie Kirk was unalived. Because he was reaching those kids. Satan doesn't want you near the kids if you have God's spirit on you, because you're going to influence them to do things that God wants them to do. So you got to be mindful of that. So sometimes what happens is when Satan sees you somewhere doing God's work, he sends his minions around, or he influences somebody, especially somebody that you really, really trust, to get in the way of a covenant that God made with you. And it is what it is. And you got to handle it the way that you handle it. So when I look at these lefty liberals, and I'm not talking about the super extreme ones, when I look at the regular liberals, and I see that y'all just following the lunatics, everything that the lunatics are saying, I just want y'all to understand that we have to be mindful that it's God first. We have to be mindful of this. It's God first. There's so many things in this world that I want to do, but I don't. Because it's on God's time. It's not on my time. It doesn't matter how my heart feel. It don't matter how my head feel. It's on God's time. And sometimes things don't happen when we want them to happen. And it's for the best. Because they still happen. But sometimes they don't. And that's for the different. Gotta be mindful. Remember, I have a program where I have people that are trying to always break down everything that I say so they could figure out how they could just argue with me in real life. So I gotta be very mindful. And I want to be clear about something. If I'm not saying anybody's names and I'm talking about experiences that I went through, that's not gossip. That's testimony. Whenever you see anyone that Satan is trying to get them to be quiet and not repeat their testimony, that's because their testimony is important. Not to just them, but to be out there in the world. Satan wouldn't be trying so hard if the testimony wasn't important. Just facts on facts on facts. Well, we got 11 o'clock. We probably about to get ready to get out of here. How long we been live? We've been live for about an hour. We talked about a lot of things, just weaving in and out. I probably need a co-host. I've been saying that for years now. But I've been speaking to some people, and they was like, you don't need a co-host. You just need to want to do it. Because you could tell I'm here, but I'm not here. I'm thinking of things that God told me to do that I didn't get to. Just being honest with you. He's probably looking at me like, you think I'm going to send you better? And I'm like, no, that's not what this is. I get scared of things sometimes too. You know, sometimes I'm scared too. When I was a teenager, I was extremely reckless. We're going to get right back to the conversation. I just want to say this. When I was a teenager, I was just reckless. I don't know. I was just reckless. I just had so many wins, and I won all the time, and I didn't even fathom losing at anything was possible. That's the only way I could explain that. I didn't even fathom. But it's not that I won all the time. It's just that I always looked at the brighter side. So every single time something happened, I got something from it that was so beneficial to me in my life. So it never felt like I ever lost at anything. Life is just interesting. And we have to be mindful and stay humble. But Satan is going to try to make your humbleness look like you soft. And that's a problem that Christians have, just in general. That people just think you soft. Like, oh, okay, I know I just jumped a lot of topics, but check this out. We have this new thing where people try to provoke you. If you don't respond, you sucker. If you do respond, then, you're wrong. It's just words. I didn't touch you. But if you don't do anything, then you a sucker. And every time I see you, I'm going to give you this energy and just until you fight me. But if you do fight me, then I'm the victim. But if you don't fight me, you a sucker. But if you do fight me, you the victim. And that's the energy. And that's the energy the left has. God said that we're not supposed to hate man or woman. We're not supposed to hate people. We're supposed to hate behavior and actions, things people do, but we're not supposed to hate people. not people. And that's basically what's going on right now. People are hating Trump, so no matter what Trump does, they're saying we have to be against it. But what if Trump is doing God's will? Do you understand where that puts you? You didn't consider that, did you? Because they told you that he touched kids with absolutely zero proof, evidence, or anything. Except for some random people saying that he did something, but there's no proof, there's no evidence, there's no nothing. The police tried to investigate all of these matters, and it was just, there was nothing. But y'all believe that these are good reasons to say that he did the crime, even though there was nothing. There was nothing. And this wasn't regular police doing this stuff. This was like FBI guys, right? So this wasn't, in some of these cases, it was like they real investigations for real. There was nothing. But why they have actual video evidence of other people, audio evidence of other people, all types of different evidence of other people, the left want all of those things ignored. So you hate Trump more than you want good for the kids? More than you want these other monsters that we have actual proof for to be held accountable? And then they yell, some of them yell, well, nobody's been arrested. Ain't nobody going to do anything. The only person you want arrested is Trump. If anybody else gets arrested, y'all going to go in the streets and act crazy. What are you talking about? This is why I just don't be talking to people. Because they want you to live inside of whatever insanity that they live in. And it just be crazy. But you're not calling them crazy. I'm not calling them crazy. I'm just saying, you're living inside of a world that it really don't exist. You're trying to force it to exist. But it's not a thing. I'll give you an example. We keep hearing that most of the, if you listen to the left, any Democrat that still is on the farm, and I'm going to stop calling it a plantation, I'll call it a farm, that's still on the farm, any Democrat, they're going to tell you that the majority of Americans actually disagree with Trump. They don't care how crazy that sounds. They don't care how much proof that we have that is not true. They don't care. They don't care about all the polls that come out proving that that's not accurate. None of this matters to them. Because in the world that they live in, they've decided that anything at all that says anything good about Trump is a lie. How can you vote for these people? Like the ones that's in politics, how can you vote for them? I don't get it. I want to do something. I don't like the fact that so many babies in general get aborted. I don't like that. But you don't hear me talking about it every day, do you? I barely ever bring it up. I bring it up if it's a topic of conversation. I don't like it. There's tons of things that I don't like. I don't talk about every day. They talk about Trump every day. Nothing good. They're not even reporting on the positive things he's doing. So they're not talking about Trump did this, oh, that was good. Trump did that, oh, that sucked. Trump did this, oh, that was good. Trump did that, that was good. Trump did that, oh, I can't believe this guy. What is he at? Oh, man, you seen that other thing he did? And he did that. That was horrible. But he did that other thing and it was fairly okay. They're not doing that. Independent of results or impact. If you listen to the people that was in D.C. and they said that when the National Guard got deployed down there, how much safer the streets got, and they were so happy. This one dude, I seen an interview with him, he was like, yo, fam, I never walked to the store. He's like, I can walk to the store now. I can't even imagine it being so dangerous out. And I live in a dangerous community, but I guess because you ain't got no choice, you got to walk to the store. But I've also lived in the country. And I know a walk to the store isn't like a block or two. Like, for me, a walk to the store might be a mile to the closest store on the road. I don't know. But he was like, I could walk to the store. I thought that was crazy. We live in 2026. What do you mean you couldn't walk to the store? For how many years? 20 or so years you couldn't walk to the store? So every time one of y'all needs to get something from the damn corner store, y'all had to burn gas. This is what you're telling me. If there was no car at the house, y'all was smarter to wait for the car to get back in order for y'all to go to the store. And somehow liberals are against this. I don't get it. I need somebody to explain this to me. Trump said, if you believe that the American government number one job is to put American citizens before illegal aliens, stand up. I don't know how serious I can take a person that's gonna vote Democrat in the next election. I don't know how serious I could take them as a human being. I love them. Don't get this confused. But I don't know how serious I could take them as a human. They literally just proved. And I know what liberals are gonna think in their head. Oh, I wouldn't have stood up for Trump either. Screw Trump. That wasn't for Trump. That was for you. Trump got them to stand up just right before that about him not allowing Congress to do taxes no more. They had to stand up for that. I don't think people understand the intelligence of what he did. They had to stand up for that bill. They had to. I don't know who is the speechwriter or orchestrator or put together the program, but I'm pretty sure even if Trump didn't know they was gonna stand, they knew they was gonna stand. They had no choice. Because if they don't stand, now it looks like they are corrupt. And in their minds, I wouldn't be confused if they thought if we don't stand for this, they're going to investigate me. I don't want to be investigated. So the Democrats stood. And then shortly after that, he said the other thing, and nobody stood. So they stand for their money, but they don't stand for the American people. There is no explanation that I believe any liberal could ever give me for them not standing up for the American people in that moment that will make sense. In a wheelchair. There you go. I didn't see anybody laying in a gurney, so. As far as I know, they all have feet and legs. And I know there's going to be people who are on the Democratic side and they're going to say, you hate, no, there's so many great Democratic leaders y'all have. But they have to side with the lunacy in order to stay relevant. Black people, you want to stay Democrat? Great, stay Democrat. But y'all got to move away from the loonies. Y'all got to let the loonies do them. And be over there like, nah, we all Democrats, but them is them other dudes. Like, we all black, but the N-words, them is some other dudes. Y'all gotta separate yourselves from them dudes. And I said this probably like 7-8 years ago. The issue is this. It's like when a guy see women out and they all together. Dude don't know which ones is the hoes and which one ain't. First of all, nowadays, y'all all dress the same. For whatever the reason about that is. You know how dope it is to see a woman looking classy? I'm going to say this. And I'm saying this and don't nobody know anything about this except for specific individuals. So this is not me gossiping. Once again, this is just my testimony. But the prettiest I've ever seen, I think the prettiest I've ever seen any woman ever be in my life. I don't think I've ever in my life seen a female more beautiful than we was at the church. And it was like a ceremony we was giving out awards or something. And it was a shorty that was there. I don't think I've ever seen anything in my life as beautiful as that. I've forgot why I'm even having this conversation. Just move away from it. Whenever you see me lose my train of thought, I'm not gonna lie, I'm just thinking about her. In any regard. I'm trying to remember why I brought that up. In any regard. So Trump and these people just hate him. But he's actually doing good things. And for the individuals that's like, this is stolen land. As far as I know, Manhattan was bought. It probably wasn't bought for much. There's this thing called the Louisiana Purchase. There was the Spanish-American War, where a war was fought and land was acquired. And I believe California was bought from Mexico. So, conquered land and purchased. And just say theoretically it was stolen land. Okay, so the people that run the land, though, that now run the land, yeah, they can still now say that people could be illegal. You do know this, right? So we can be clear. People that run the land. So none of that makes any sense. It's just slogans that is meant to make you feel a way. That's it. It's just meant to emotionally manipulate you. That's it. And I think it's important, especially us being men, that we don't, and this is not a knock on women. Every time I say something like this, sometimes you get a feeling like, well, what about, no, I'm just saying that I'm talking to men in this moment. It's important for us, specifically, to be able to be in control of our emotions as much as possible. Like me, myself, and this is bad of me, and I got to work on this. But if anybody makes me feel an emotion too far in any direction, I kind of steer clear of them. That's bad, though. I got to stop doing that. But I don't want to feel too far in any direction. Like, you know. I don't want to feel like somebody has the power to manipulate me. So I don't want to hate anybody. And I kind of am scared to love people. Because I don't want to feel like I could be manipulated. I don't want to, you understand what I'm saying? I don't want to. Because I know how, especially with love, I know how I am when I'm operating inside of that energy. Like, you are going to have a very easy life. The Bible says one of the best things or greatest things that we could be in this world is a servant. And I believe that when you're in a relationship, you're supposed to be servants to one another, first and foremost, because we're servants of the Lord. And we show how much we love the Lord by loving the people, especially in our immediate circumference, the people that we are immediately around, our friends, our family. One of the ways that we show the Lord how much we love him, is by loving them. So, yeah, I'm usually very protective of, especially if somebody makes me feel, I'm very protective of that. Probably too protective. I've been hurt, y'all. I've been hurt very gravely. With that being said, I want to get off here anyway and do some other stuff. But let's get to this Iran thing, and then I'll have a tiny discussion about let's Iraq-Iran real quick. So for everybody that don't know, when Iran was the operation went down in Iran, Israel was part of Israel, not Iraq. Israel was part of the attack. So now after that happened to Iran, what Iran does is, Iran starts attacking Israel. But Iran also started attacking neighbor Arab countries. I'm going to explain something to you, and I need y'all to hear this. I said this in the beginning of the video, but this is something that I heard an Iranian say that I thought was extremely important. And I think that we need to understand this more than anybody else, being black people living in America. Listen, he said, yo, look, this current regime, they're not even Persian. He was like, we're Persian. We're not Arabs. He was like, yeah, we're Persian. These people are foreigners that came into our land and then took over. That's basically what happened. Let's talk about Minnesota for two seconds real quick. Minneapolis, Minnesota, whatever, right? You know what the United States is? Okay. So when you look at England, what do people over there in Europe call England? England's a state. Even when they're talking about global regions, they don't say England the country. We say England the country, but they call England a state. They call Sweden a state. When they're speaking about it, we call it a country though. So basically what America is a United States. It's like the EU, the European Union, which consists of different things that we would call countries, but they call states. You get it? So, bear with me. What happened in Minnesota was the Somalians decided that they were going to inhabit and control the entire state. So that's what Trump is fighting against. An occupation of our own country. And who are the individuals that's going out there fighting against it? You got it. The liberals. It's like y'all don't know what an invasion is. I don't get it. I mean, I know I'm not that much more intelligent than the average individual. I got like average intelligence, fam. I'm not that smart. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't get how other people don't get this type of stuff. That's why I be sitting there sometimes, especially like when I'm talking to certain people, and I just be like, okay. And you came to this? And then I'm really curious, and I start asking them questions. I need to know why they think this. So why is that happening? Because I'm not in agreement with them. And I want to talk about that also. Give me 2 seconds. I'm not in agreement with them, but I really want to know how they came to this decision. Like, was it a valid reason for you to come to this decision that I disagree with? It might have been a valid reason. I want to know. You never know. Might have been a valid reason. Might have been insanity. I'm just joking. But it might have been a valid reason. You don't ever know. But when you find out, a lot of times they just say that they heard something somewhere, and it be stuff that just been either a lie or proven to be wrong already. That's it. Yeah. So a lot of the people that hate Trump, they hate Trump based off of stuff that ain't true. And if anyone that I know of knows how that is, it's me. Anybody. So that's why that's shout out to the Most High, glory be to God, Jesus is King. He had me go through the things that I went through in life for a specific reason. And I believe that he wanted to make sure that I don't stray too far away from him. Because I was trying to help people that he didn't want me helping. And that's why right now I'm so quick to, when I believe God is trying to tell me to remove myself from a situation, I do. Because I know for a fact that I stayed too long in a different situation and I was helping people that I should not have been helping. And because I was using whatever gifts or blessings that God had given me and he was blessing me with for purposes that went against what he wanted to happen, so negative things happen to me. And it is what it is. That's accepting responsibility. Not me saying that I'm wrong for something that I'm right about. And you got to pay attention to Satan, because Satan is going to want you to get into agreement with things that God is against. So I was talking to a kid the other day, and we was playing a video game, and he was like saying all the things that he was doing wrong in real time. And I had to tell him, stop speaking bad about yourself. All right? And when I explained to him, one, the body doesn't understand sarcasm, and two, you're actually not playing bad. You're actually playing well. Having high expectations is great, right? But it's levels to this. We're just trying to improve every time. A little bit of improvement here, a little bit of improvement there, a little bit of improvement there. Next thing you know, it's leaps and bounds. So you got to be mindful of this. So when God tells me to leave a situation, I just leave the situation, because I stayed somewhere too long once, and it was not to my benefit. Other people benefited, but it was not to my benefit, and it wasn't to what the Lord wanted me to do. There's a situation right now I would love to be a part of, but I can't. And pretty soon it looks like I'm never going to be able to be a part of it again. So, but that's on me. If I decide to take a wife, I could never go back to that. So says the conversations I had with. So, right now I'm at a crossroads in life. I got to decide whether I'm going to do the thing that I know the Lord wants me to do that's going to be difficult to get done, or if I'm going to do the thing that the Lord is going to allow me to do, because I'm probably not going to do the other thing because of all of the bullshit that I went through in my life. So these are situations and things that we have to think about as people. So when you see somebody out there, understand everybody got shit that they dealing with. Let's be mindful of that. Let's be compassionate. Another issue I got with the left, I don't think they're compassionate. I think it's all fake compassion. They're only compassionate for the people that they want you to feel sorry for. They're not compassionate about the other side. I feel bad for Renee Good. I think that all of those videos that people made that they was laughing, I was like, come on. Did she create the situation to herself? I believe she did, but there's people that love her. There's people that's gonna miss her. She had kids. I don't think anything should happen to that officer, but I do feel bad about the situation. I don't think the officer did anything wrong, but I do feel bad that something like that happened to her. Just because you feel bad that happened to her, that doesn't mean that you need consequences to happen to the other person. And I think that's something that we miss out in life. Like people saying Trump went and stole Maduro and they're going off on whatever they're going off on, right? So, okay, but what's going on? Why is a man that is an illegal president illegally running the country, why can't he be removed? Oh, only because it's Trump doing it. And because of the way that you feel about Trump, you feel that Trump should not be the dude doing it. Somebody else should have did it because they would have did it different. Nobody got hurt on the American. Nobody died on the American side. How could it have been done any better? When we go into another country to do an operation, we're trying not to hurt civilians, absolutely. But other than that, everything else, it could be evaporated. How was the Democrats over here talking about how the military on the other side was getting killed and the Democrats over here was feeling bad for them? What are y'all talking about? Only people that should be feeling bad for the soldiers that fall of some country is the people that was on the side of the soldiers that fell. I don't feel bad for the soldiers on the other side. Civilians, yes, because they didn't sign up for this. Soldiers signed up. And some of y'all need to meet soldiers. Not every soldier is a good guy. I know a lot of good guys. But there was a period of time where I knew more bad guys than good guys. Trump is trying to save the kids. Trump is trying to save the generation. They can't even tell y'all about some of the stuff that's going on because you won't believe it. I'm telling you, you won't believe it. Because I've heard about almost everything that y'all hearing about now. I've been knowing about this stuff 10 years and better. Some of this stuff like 20. Some of this stuff is not nowhere near new. If some of the other things that I've been hearing about is also going on, that's the only reason why I talked a little bit about conspiracy stuff in the beginning of the video. But if some of the other stuff that I know about is actually going on, and not even just the stuff that I was talking about, just some of the conspiracy stuff that I've heard out there that is just, it doesn't even sound bananas or bonkers to me. It sounds believable to me, but it's like, it's just not something you would think that would be getting done. You understand what I'm saying? But it's something that's possible. I believe that there's more things that they're just not even telling people what's going on. That's what I think is happening. I'm going to say something. Check this out. You want to know why I think that the Rosie O'Donnells and the other people that left the country and now talking about they trying to move back America? Because I think they left the country under the impression that they was going to, you know, Trump is terrible, Trump is terrible, Trump is terrible. And other countries was going to band with her to hate Trump. So if they ever try to get them extradited, they'd be able to fight it. I don't think people understand what was going on with that. So now when they see that this is not a thing that's going to happen, they're going to get snatched up, just like they snatched up Maduro. As soon as they snatched up Maduro, what started happening? Now all of a sudden, you start hearing about these people saying, yo, we might move back to America. And then what happened right after they started saying they might move back to America? Who gets arrested? Prince. So this is what I mean by I don't think people are always paying attention to what's going on. Sometimes we just stuck in our own heads. We got our own stuff going on. I got a lot of stuff going on over here. I need a wife. I got a ton of things going on over here. God told me to go look at only one person. I'm scared to talk to the girl. And I'm a grown man. I'm so pissed. If it was somebody else, it'd be a piece of cake. It'd be a piece of cake. So the Democrats are now saying that they are against Trump and all these other countries going against Iran. Now I'm going to explain to you what's happening. Trump has decided he's not going to try to win over the American people. He's going to win over the people of every other nation. That's what he's doing. It's a waste of time. He's never going to win over the Americans. Now, saying that, the majority of the country absolutely sides with Trump. But he's never going to win over the liberals. It's just, there's nothing that can happen. I 100% believe that if Jesus Christ himself came down, and people still have free will to just for a fact that that was Jesus Christ, that they would still be inclined. Then Jesus Christ is saying, no, this is something that's good, that they would still be inclined to be against it just because it's Trump. I'm 100% in it. I 100% believe this. 100% of 100%. Like, of no question. Because I hear some of the arguments that people have against Trump, and it makes no sense. And some of them make sense. I just, they just believe lies. Just so we could be clear. Sometimes people just believe stuff that's not true. It is what it is. Sometimes I believe stuff that's not true. But some of these arguments, it just don't be making any sense. Like, it's like, how did you come to that? Like, what in the hell? But some of the stuff, it makes perfectly good sense. I'm not, and it's not, it's not bananas. It makes sense. But some of that stuff, it don't make no damn sense. So you're against Trump because you keep calling him a PDF file. Okay, why are you calling him that? Epstein files. But in the Epstein files, Epstein numerous times says that Trump actually was working with the police. And in other times, Epstein talked about how much he hated Trump. tons of those emails. What about those emails? Oh, no, but we're saying, we're not, forget those. What about those young girls? Okay, so they investigated all of those situations involving those complaints and nothing substantiated. There was no evidence that they could acquire to try to do anything. As far as they can tell, it was just people making up stories and lying. Yeah, but Trump is in the... Yeah, we know Trump is in the files. But what about these other people that's in the files? They said Clinton was in the files and he was doing this, or X, Y, and Z was in the files and he was doing that. We had an actual victim come out and say that they would take the girls and let them loose out on the island, and Bill, I don't know how true this is, but allegedly, Bill Clinton would go out there and I think they said in like a golf cart or something, and he would hunt the girls down, and whatever girl he caught, that was his girl for the night or whatever. But they also said, in addition to that, Hillary Clinton would be out there and she'd have a rifle. Sometimes girls didn't come back. So I don't know if any of that is true. But I do know, allegedly, another conspiracy is that they were already unalived in Guantanamo Bay. And the Hillary that we currently see and the Bill that we currently see are not really Bill and Hillary Clinton. This is just conspiracy theories that's out there, just for you to be able to gather what's going on. So what Trump is doing is, Trump is getting all of the other countries of the world to love him. Now where your immigrants are going to come from? Where your immigrants going to come from? If Trump go and he free Cuba, Trump free Colombia, he's already freed Venezuela. They're in the process of freeing Venezuela. They also in the process of freeing Iran. Where you going to get your immigrants from to come do hostilities in America? To come vote for Democrats, where you're going to get them from? He's destroying your base. First, he destroyed your base locally. Now he's destroying your base globally. He's destroying your base. Because now, how are you going to even allow for... Now, think about it. How many of those Venezuelan people do you think that Democrats now want to allow to become American citizens? The Venezuelan people that's over here that are happy, because maybe there's some that aren't happy. And I say right, the ones that are happy, when do you think they're ever going to vote Democrat again? After seeing that the Democrats wanted to keep them in bondage. Which Iranian is going to ever vote Democrat again? After seeing that the Democrats wanted to keep them in bondage. When they go into Cuba and try to free Cuba, or whatever the hell is going to go on with Cuba, if something happens there, what Cubans you think is going to vote Democrat again? After Democrats is going to 100% complain that they wanted the Cubans to stay in the bondage. Because that's what they're protesting. They're protesting these nations being removed from bondage. That's what they're protesting. They're going to say, no, we're just protesting Trump. No, you're protesting freedom. So now, when you look at all of these different nations in the world that was doing all of this evil, why does it seem like they were aligned with the Democratic Party? Now, are you looking at 9/11 a little bit different? Instead of thinking Bush had something to do with it? Did he? Might have. But who's aligned with the terrorists? The Democratic Party. Biden gave them pallets full of cash that went on to sponsor wars or went on to sponsor terrorist attacks across the nation, across the globe. Biden left them how much military equipment? Kamala Harris told them as far as starting a war, and Biden don't. You know what Trump said? Nah, fam, we doing this? Trump was like, hold on. Is we doing this? What you talking about? And then as soon as they was talking crazy, he said, all right, not a problem. Nah, you got it, fam. Nah, I'm good. Don't worry about it. He ain't even say I'm going to be back. He just came back. A lot of these nations are about to lose their anybody that doesn't want to negotiate with Trump is about to be removed. I'm sorry. That's about what's going to happen. Any which one of these narco states in our hemisphere, any of these terrorist states that don't want to negotiate with Trump, he gonna pull up. And for the people that think that's a bad idea, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe, I was gonna say a joke, but I'm not gonna insult people. It wouldn't be funny though, but people gotta get sensitive. In any regard, everybody have a beautiful day. I think it's absolutely hilarious that the liberals are losing their minds over good news again. I'm pretty sure y'all making people that are happy on the inside not feel like they could express it. Y'all making people really, really uncomfortable, I think. Because imagine they said they killed like 100,000 people of a month. Like in a month, in one day, he killed like 100,000 people. Some kind of crazy number. Like, how is the Democrats on this guy's side? Like, how? I don't understand how y'all could be on this guy's side. That women's suffrage movement. Like, comment, subscribe. Join notification gang. #RoseBoomers. Let's get it. I love y'all. I'm out.